All right, welcome everyone. We've got Carla Jones, human design reader and expert, and you have heard me talk about her many times before. Some of you have had readings from Carla as well. We work together, and she's always been a closet HD reader, and now she does this professionally. And I use her for the clients that I work with one-to-one. I usually get a Vedic astrology reading and a HD reading. Usually they get their HD reading whilst they're waiting to work with me for a few months, and it just gives them a little bit of insight and things to reflect on. And it's just been really amazing seeing the light bulb moments that people are having, because this work is all about reconnecting back to your true nature and understanding yourself, because sometimes we can just get completely lost with everything that's going on and all the dramas and traumas that we experience in our life, and we forget who it is we are. And sometimes I think it's great to get this guidance and someone who has no idea who you are, and just based on date of birth, time of birth, place of birth, that they can give you some insight into what your destiny and your path is. So I will hand it over to you, Carla. You can reintroduce yourself. Tell us a little bit about human design.
Oh, thanks, Jen. Yeah, that was very good. All-rounder. You've rounded it up well. I'm Carla. I'm just a curious human, and human design has just answered a lot of questions for me. I first was introduced to it maybe 3 or 4 years ago, and I just saw a body graph and went, I can't do that right now. That's just too much. But I came back to it about 2 years ago. I was ready for it. And it just answered so much about me. I had a stranger telling me all about me. And I thought, holy hell, you're giving language to things like little quirks about me that no one else even knows about. And I just thought, I want to look more into this. So I did it was a 10-week course, just because I was curious about reading my kids' charts and for my friends. And it's just snowballed into people asking, oh, can you read my chart? Because if you've seen the charts, they're really layered and complicated. So there is astrology component in it, as well as the I Ching or I Ching, quantum physics. There's all sorts going on in there. The old chakra system, which you might be familiar of, like the 7 chakras. We're now 9-centered beings that I've learned. So it's just a visual for you to have a look at what you were like at birth. And you can sort of compare, how far off track have I come? How much conditioning has taken place? Where have I let perhaps society or my family shape me? And human design really isn't about being someone else or trying to fit into something. It's called the science of differentiation. So it's really about not being so homogenized. It's about unbecoming, taking off all that conditioning and getting back to who you are. And it's interesting because we think, oh, but I know myself. But do you? Has time changed? Have you had kids, or you've been married and in a partnership with someone for a long time and you've kind of lost yourself? Have you been in a job or a career for the last 20 years and now you're kind of a bit miserable and you really don't know who you are? I don't even know what I like. So it's a great map just to have a visual to say, okay, here's what I look like at birth. What am I here to learn? Where am I really strong? And how can I lean on my strengths and, move through life in a more ease-filled way? So that's pretty much the basis of human design. So Jin was saying that you guys have seen your charts. So you guys have looked up just your
Yeah. And it was super interesting. Hopefully you guys can remember what they are. I just had it up here and then I've just come out of it. I'm just going to find it again. But
that's okay.
There's 9 of us in the group Hillary we're waiting for. And I think 7 out of the 9 are pretty similar. Okay. Let me find it and I'll read it out to you. And there was a couple who were a little bit different. I think Jacob and maybe Ange, I don't know what her one is. So you've done readings, I believe, for Michelle, Anova, Simona, Gemma, and Ange as well. Yep. Yeah. So does it help if I try and find it? So people were here we go. I've got Michelle's one up, but it was like, oh, this is weird. Everyone is like so similar, but there are quite a few, as you say, different layers. So manifesting generator, strategy to respond, not self-theme, frustration, signature, satisfaction, authority, sacral, and then the profile was heretic, investigator, 5-1. So many people in the group with that. And if you got something different, I'd encourage you to post it in the chat for Carla to give you some feedback on it as well.
Did you guys all individually have a look, or did Jen do the homework and look everyone up?
No, I don't know how to do the homework on it. I leave that to you.
Okay.
But so, Ania knows. Ania, who's she's in Russia at the moment, so she's not on the call, obviously. She knows quite a bit of human design, so she usually responds to the human design element.
Okay, so if you're interested, there's a free sign up on mybodygraph.com. So if you write that down, and you can look this up later, you just...
Oh, that's the one they did.
Okay, so you've done all that, and you've seen what gets spat out at you is this picture of a, it looks like this. So you've seen the body graphs? Yep. If you happen to have your body graph in front of you, that's great. But if not, you can look this up at a separate time. But the first thing you'll see is your type. So I can go into the 5 types if you like, because that in itself kind of separates you. And this was a bit of a, oh, wow, okay, this answers a lot about me. So of the 5 types, 2 of them are, they've got the sacral defined, and the sacral being defined just means you've got this capacity for life, for energy. You've just got go. So that's the generator and the manifesting generator. And that's what you're saying majority of people are. So high energy people. The other 3 types are called a projector, a manifester, and a reflector. Most of the population are high energy beings, the generator or the manifesting generator. And these people, so I'll go into a generator, your superpower really is you're just busy and you're just doing stuff. You're almost like the worker bee, and you're here in this life to really hone in on your mastery of things over time. You're just here to really focus on something and explore that for this life. Generators are about 36% of the population. Manifesting generators are similar, but they're faster. So they move quicker. They tend to be like the hummingbird of the types, where they've got many interests. They start and stop things quite frequently. They might have 3 books on the go and not finish them. They tend to skip steps and then make mistakes and go back. They're the child that maybe signed up for tennis 1 month and then, after that they hated it and picked up the saxophone and stopped that, and then they started watercolor. So it can look like frenetic, but that's just the pace they move. They're like the Ferrari of the types. Their brain works fast. They're very innovative. And when you think of famous man-gens or MGs, it's like, who can I tell you? Russell Brand, brilliant brain. He goes a mile a minute, and he is very much an MG. So they're your 2 energy types. So the other 3 non-energy types just means they don't have the sacral defined. And that's not to say they just lay on the lounge all day. It's more that they don't have the consistent, reliable access to the sacral energy. So it's not a terrible thing, but they're here for different things. So projectors are next. They are about 18 to 20% of the population, and projectors are great guides. They just have this laser focus on the other, and they're here this life to learn about themselves through the other, understanding the other. So they make terrific, just natural counselors, guides, advisors. They are sages, just wisdom from a young age, but they can come across as sort of bossy know-it-alls, where they're told to be quiet, you know too much, stop rocking the boat. So they can get shut down a lot in life. Because we live in a generator world with 70% of all these high energy beings around us, poor little projectors can look around feeling lazy. They're trying to keep up with the generators, and they can't. They don't have the capacity to. So they're really made to not work a full 8 to 10 hour day. They're made to work maybe 3 to 4 hours at a time. But their brilliance is in often their concepts, their thinking, and they're just really, they're the misunderstood type, I think, the projector, but they've got such valuable knowledge. Then we've got manifestors. So the manifestor is an interesting one. They're about 9 to 10% of the population. They're here to rock the boat. They're polarizers. They're very, what's the word? They're here to cause waves, start movements, to initiate things. They just, in their brilliance, can ruffle feathers. And that's by nature. They're supposed to ruffle feathers to poke and provoke and make change happen. So we need the manifestor, but they're often as well misunderstood. They're the child that, I want to go here, just get out of my way, I'm going to try it. And they often, their thing is they get pushbacks a lot and questioned, how are you going to do that? Have you thought about this? So they don't like to tell people what their plan is. So they can sort of shut off from people and be very quiet about it. So they've got an interesting life. And you'll know a manifestor when you meet them. As I said, about 9% of the population. When they pop up, it's almost an energy that you can feel that's a bit, I wonder what's with them. Like they're a little bit hard to read. It's a funny aura to read. And then the last one is 1% of the population. They're called reflectors. So they're ultra rare. It's like a unicorn. They are all white. When you look at their body graph, totally white. So they're here to really learn about themselves. But at the same time, they're here to absorb everyone else and learn from everyone else. But they're the shaman of the group. So they're quite rare. I've only done 2 readings for reflectors, and their environment is everything, because their environment shapes who they become and their close circle of friends. So each of the types has a way to move through life. And when you start to know your type, you can start to see, oh my gosh, I'm so different to my sibling, to my mother, to my partner. No wonder, some things are natural to me and it's difficult for them. So with human design, the basic thing to guide you is we've got body wisdom. It's internally in us, and we've each got a body barometer that makes the best decisions for us. What's happened is we've been in our mind for so long and very logical, and we might have seen our parents make decisions from logic, where it's like, okay, I've got a big decision to make. Let's weigh up the pros and cons. But often the body's not even considered, and your body knows. How many times in your life have you gone, oh, that relationship failed, but I had a gut feeling he was going to do that? But you went ahead anyway and you did that business deal or got into a relationship out of logic, like you saw the dollars or you saw the potential, but you ignored your gut feel on it. So human design is getting you back in your body and how can I make the best decisions for me? And that's called your authority. Everyone's got a different authority. So I can go into those if you guys know your authority. But before that, you're told in human design to pay attention to strategy and authority. So strategy is how to live your life. So whilst we all live in a generator world and we're told, if you want something in life, you've got to go out there and make it happen. That doesn't work for everyone. How awkward is it for you guys to do the hard sell and really push yourself on other people? And this is how great I am and, buy from me. A lot of people feel awkward with it. And it's because only the manifestor can initiate and do the sell and make things happen. Everyone else is to follow other strategies. So the generator and the manifesting generator, their strategy is to respond to life, meaning you're not going to push yourself and like hustle and initiate things. Try this experiment of responding to life. And that means responding to your body. Does it light you up? Are you moving toward the thing? If you wanted to try something different, like maybe you want to study a course, are you doing it because you're logically saying, I want to study this course so I can learn about, I don't know, cryptocurrency and make millions? Because that's all out of logic. Or are you feeling it? Like you're moving toward it going, yeah, I want to do this. I'm really interested. I'm going to follow those breadcrumbs. That's how responding works. So are you responding well? Also, are you responding to synchronicities in your external environment? Because you'll get little nudges of, yeah, follow that, go for that. If you're not paying attention, or if you're trying hard to hustle, you're going to miss all that. And you'll find that you'll be in incorrect places for you because you haven't listened if you've to your body wisdom. So that's the energy beings, generators, man-gens are to respond to life. The projectors are interesting. So remember, they're the brainy sage. They're told as a strategy to wait for the invitation. Now that can sit awkwardly for a lot of projectors because they're just, I know how to fix people. I can see clearly what's wrong with you and how you can improve. But people aren't ready for them. So they can get shut down. So I often think of, it's a passage, I think it's biblical. Don't cast your pearls before swine. And that's the projector. What comes out of their mouth is such wisdom, such treasure. Be careful who you just throw it out to, because it might not be taken in well. If you want it to be received well, wait to be invited for your opinion. And that, as simple as it is, can be hard. And then when an invitation does arrive, it might not be the right invitation for you. So check with your body authority. Am I making the right decision just because this invitation's come? So that's the projector. The manifestor, the initiator, the polarizer, their strategy is to inform people. Now, this is hard for a manifestor because they're like, I don't have to tell you what I'm doing. I want to do what I want to do, and I'm going to do it now. It's a very sort of childlike thing. You know, when you see little toddlers and they just want to go for the thing, it can be like that. It's like, just get out of my way. So because the aura of a manifestor, it's kind of hazy and hard to read. So a lot of people just question them, and they hate questions. They just want to get to their thing. So when you tell a manifestor, it's your strategy to actually inform. Your life will move and be more ease-filled if you do that. That can be hard for them. It's met with resistance because they feel, okay, I'm going to get my some construction done on my house. I don't want to have to inform my neighbor. This is my house. I can do whatever I want. It's just the polite thing to do. And really, it's funny when I've spoken to lots of manifestors, and they just feel, generally as kids, they were shut down and told to sit there, stop being trouble. And that's what they carry for the rest of their life, told that, you know, you run around too much, you're too big, be smaller. So of course they don't want to tell you what they're doing. So again, human design, it's an experiment. So just try it, flipping it around. Informing can just be saying to your partner or your work colleagues, hey, I'm just going to go over here and do this now. I'll be coming home late tonight because I'm going to see this. Just, it's a general courtesy. And if you view it like that and not an invasion of privacy, that might sit better. Or maybe think of it as you're driving a car, and when you indicate, you're informing others behind you what you're doing next. You're not telling them exactly where you're going, but you're informing. So doing that for a manifestor, you might be less inclined to be angry, and your life will be a bit more ease-filled. And then the reflector, if you want to speak about patience, so we're waiting to respond, we're waiting for an invitation, we're informing, this is so far, but the reflector is to wait a 28-day cycle. And that's because they're so affected by the moon. And the moon, just to put it like in plain English for you, it takes a 28-day cycle to get through all of the 64 gates so that they can have a taste of what it feels like before they move forward on a decision. So they really need to be patient. Because when they're too impulsive, they make the wrong decision. So that's a bit about how to start going. But when you know what your authority is, that's when it gets interesting. So you know your authority because it will say so on your little My Body graph. But most of the population have the solar plexus as their authority. That's about 55% of people. So you'll see authority, solar plexus. And that just means your body's best wisdom comes from feeling. And when you have a big decision to make where it requires commitment, so a partnership, an expensive purchase, getting into a mortgage, things like that, not what am I going to eat for breakfast, like little things like that you can work out, big commitment decisions. and solar plexus is your authority, you've got to wait on how you feel. There's no truth in the now, they say, with solar plexus authority. Meaning, if you're too spontaneous, you're going to get it wrong. You'll be having to backpedal or get out of sticky situations because you were impulsive. And again, if you're an MG that moves fast and you think, I can be spontaneous and make fast decisions, not if your authority is emotional. It's called an emotional authority, meaning there's a wave that comes with emotion. There's ups and downs, peaks and troughs. So if you make a decision on the high of your wave, well, you might be feeling good going, yeah, I want to go to that party that I got an invitation to. But maybe 24 hours later, you come down from your wave and you think, actually, the worst thing in the world would be going to that party. I'm glad I waited. Rather than saying yes in the first 5 minutes and not letting emotional clarity settle. So you make your best decisions at the middle of your wave, not when you're souped up and high and happy, and not when you're low and in like a melancholy flat kind of way, but where you're seeing the decision from all angles. Like getting into a relationship. Can you see yourself with that person at a low? Would you like that person to be with you then? Not just always looking through rose-colored glasses. So it's about giving yourself the time. So learning to say things like, if you get an invitation, I don't have my diary on me. I'll get back to you. Can I feel into this? I'm not sure right now. And that's hard to do because we live in a now, answer now society, or, just make a decision. And it's a challenging thing, having an emotional authority, but it's what gives you depth, having the solar plexus as your authority, because you're here to feel things. You're here to feel it all, the highs and the lows. But man, it's a ride and it requires patience. The whole of human design is about patience and being the observer of it. The next authority you can have is actually your sacral authority. So if you're a generator or an MG, you could have that red square as your authority. And that's a gut feel. And that just is how you feel about it in your gut. Are you making noises like, Pay attention to that. Because your gut knows, your sacral will respond in a yes or a no. Again, if you're making a decision and you've got lots of choices, the sacral only likes to respond to a this or a that, yes or no. So narrow it down. If you've got kids that have their sacral defined and you say, what do you want for dinner? You're never going to get an answer. Whereas if you say, do you want burritos or do you want pasta? They'll move to one, not the other. So it's interesting when you know about how to work with the sacral, but it's quick, it's in the now. So it's easy to ask, how do we feel sacral? Are we going on that car trip? No. So the sacral it might say yeah, or it might say not right now kind of thing, like a no. So that's an interesting one too to have, because you never go wrong with gut feel. Your body does always know. Next to the sacral is a spleen. Your spleen looks like another brown triangle. Splenic authority is in the now as well. And people with the spleen as their body's barometer are very intuitive by nature, because this is the home of instinct and intuition. And it's what keeps people alive all this time. From cavemen, we needed that instinct. But again, we've moved so far away from it. But everyone's got a spleen and everyone's got a sacral, whether you've got it defined or not. So the sacral is in the now. It often gets overridden because it's a bit quieter. But the sacral is that voice that guides you when you're in danger. It wants to keep you safe. So if you've thought back, I bet the spleen has saved you many times. Maybe make a list of any splenic ping you've had that has eventuated. Because it's times when you've heard, get out of the cab right now. Don't walk down that laneway. Don't trust that guy. Today's not a good day to be on a boat. That's your spleen talking to you. So it's in more words than this or that than the sacral. But sometimes it makes zero sense and we just go, what? But the more we pay attention to our spleen and do what it says, that's how we build intuition. And I had an instance, it was about a year ago. I was the first car stopped at a red traffic light, and it was like a T intersection. And usually the lights turn green and I go, like I'm a busy mom, I've got things to do. But on this day, I was quiet enough, I didn't have music on, that the lights changed. I was ready to go. But this voice, it sounded like me inside, said, count to 3 before you go. And I kind of thought, what the hell is what? Okay, 1, 2. On 2, a car ran the red light at such speed and at such like late notice that had I have taken off in my usual way and not counted, it would have T-boned me right in my door and it would have been major. So my mind couldn't have known that was going to happen. That was a splenic knowing. It's like a sensing. And animals have it. I think kids have it too, naturally. And we all have it. It's just we've been not listening to it. Or perhaps thinking, what's that voice in my head? Where's that coming from? But listening to it is amazing because it will save you. And like I said before, some of us live in logic and we think that's not practical. Like, what is that? Make a note of how many times your spleen has saved you, and you'll be amazed, and you'll start working with it and listening to it. The other authority you can have is your heart as an authority. And this is mainly more for manifestors. And that's just about desire, checking in with their heart. What do they want out of life? Is this deal what I want, or is it what society says I should go for? So that's letting your heart be the decider. There's another one that's your throat as a definition, which is when you have a sounding board. And it's not that you need people to gather what their opinion is. It's you need to hear from yourself what the answer is, what the best decision is. And that comes from just speaking. So whether that's speaking to a trusted friend or just speaking into your phone, the answer will arrive. So it's just interesting when you get it all broken down, you can start to work with your strategy and authority and just see, wow, I'm actually making better decisions, because it is about decision making. And decision by decision, over the course of your life, you can go on a totally different trajectory because you're now making decisions in a more aligned way. So is there anything you guys would like to know about or I can help you with understanding further?
I'd love to know if everyone can just like pop what they came up with in the chat, just so I can write it down, because it was a little bit hard for me to keep track of. As I said, most people I thought were manifesting, generator, respond, and sacral, but there's a solar was Simona, and strategy to inform, so it's a little bit different. I don't think we've got any reflectors or projectors in the group apart from Gemma. What are you?
Gemma, hey, generator, sacral authority. Is that right? In the chat?
Oh, you're a generator. I thought you were a projector or a reflector. Okay, cool. Anova and Nicola, what did you come up with? I think Anova, you were MG, respond, and sacral. Megan, what were you? And Nicola, if you do have a chance, just pop it in the chat. Yeah, I don't remember seeing any heart or spleen in our group.
These are they're more rare.
Oh, okay.
I just thought if you wanted to know about it, if you want to look up friends and wonder why they don't have gut feels on things. And if you don't have a center defined, it doesn't mean you don't have that. It just means it's not consistent and reliable. So your authority will be really a consistent and reliable thing for you because it's defined. And so if everyone's mainly got sacral, that's that yes, no. And you have to have it drawn out of you as well. So maybe even writing down 2 options. Do I want to study this or that, and seeing what you like. My rates, what I'm going to charge. How does it feel to charge this or that? So feel into it. The sacral is in the moment. So you don't need to really wait for that one. So you'll know. A lot of other people look like they're emotional authority. So the emotional one was that you got to wait for emotional clarity.
Is that the solar?
That's the solar plexus, also called emotional.
Mm-hmm.
And not like emotional is a bad thing. It's you're here to ride that wave. And if you're an MG with solar plexus or emotional authority, that's hard to stop the fast and just slow down and feel into it. If you look at your body graph, you might have the solar plexus as your authority, but your sacral or your spleen also defined, which can feel like three voices talking at you, but at different speeds. So your sacral will be that soft voice trying to keep you safe. Rather, your spleen will be that soft voice trying to keep you safe. The sacral will be giving you a hunch to go for this or that. But your authority is your solar plexus. So you've really still got to wait to make that best decision. So it's an interesting ride. If you see that you've got all three colored in, like here. So this is your solar plexus. This is my authority. But I've also got the other two defined, meaning I still get pings, splenic pings, and sacral gut feels on things. So say I got that invitation in the mail, I might go, yeah, I really want to. But if I answer too quickly and my wave hasn't happened yet, I find I flake on people because it's like, oh, I've said yes to this thing too quickly. And now I've either got to flake on them or I've got to just go begrudgingly, and I don't want to be there. So it's just being that observer and watching it happen within you and going, you know, I can hear you, sacral, but we've got to wait. We've got to just wait for that emotional clarity. And like I said, 50% are emotionally defined. So they've got to wait for emotional clarity. And it's not an easy thing to do. But once you get it and nail it, you'll pay attention to it. And that's how you best move forward in life, riding that wave. You do have all three. Yes, a lot of people do. Was there a manifester? Did I read that before? I'm a manifester from an iPhone. Strategy to
Simona, yeah.
Yeah, so 5-2, authority is emotional. Yeah, so you're a manifester. You've got to inform people before you do something. Not every single thing, but a major thing that it might affect people under your roof or that you're working with. You just need to let them know. Because a manifester often gets those questions and they don't want the questions. They just want to go and do the thing. But they're often getting the questions because they're so quiet and not letting people know. So it's about this flipping it on its head and trying it this way. If you feel, oh, I am impulsive and I get it right, it's 50-50. Well, you can keep going the way you're going, but you might find that it's because you're an emotional authority that you're not being patient in the wait. That try it this way, just for even a day or a week, and just see what happens. Be that witness to it.
I think I just wanted to add quickly, Carla, it's a little bit like the doshas. We have all three of them,
Yeah.
but we will usually dominate with one unless we are very even balance across all three of the doshas. So, and it will come in waves, which one you listen to and which one you'll express. So similarities with the philosophy.
Exactly. Yep. Gemma's asking, the solar plexus is on the right. Yes, it's the right bottom brown triangle. What does the split part mean? Okay, so then that gets into the circuitry of it. So for the first thing in human design, you know your type. The first thing you're told is pay attention to strategy and authority. So you're to work on that to decondition, because your body's going to make the best decision for you, not your head and logic. And you're going to just start to see what you want to do, be who you want to be. So that might ruffle some feathers. It might mean, you know, little changes here and there to your life. The next part of when you look at your body graph, you might see some wires. So people can be a single definition or a split definition. A split definition just means you've got circuitry in two parts. A split definition person tends to need a bridge to bridge the splits. And that just means they might need something to fill them up every day. So whether that bridge be connection with people, so they might need to chat with their mum every day. They might need to go out every weekend with their date night with their partner, things like that, just to feel whole again. It might be an environment. They might need to go and sit and look at water once a day just to feel themselves again. Whereas a single definition doesn't need that so much. They're their own little island. They can be in a partnership with someone, or they're quite happy to be on their own. A single definition needs time away though, because if they don't get that me time, they can feel suffocated. And then it can start to look like, oh, family, I'm getting resentful. I'm going to slam doors and eye roll and, not behave well. But it's all because I didn't get me time. So it's about expressing that and saying, you know what, I need this for me, whether that be going for a walk every day, just to have that time for clarity. Whatever it is, you must do it before you go giving to others. You've got to fill up your own cup first for a single definition. Yeah. So the bridges, so there's red and black lines. The black lines are conscious. You've got that. The red lines are unconscious. You don't know you've got that as a strength. So any line is a strength. Any channels are real strengths. And yes, it gets confusing there, and you might need a chart reading done. But if you are a split definition, just know I need connection. So is that connection with another, or is it connection with an environment, with my pet? What do I need? A split definition knows when they haven't had that, because they'll feel a bit, where are you going? What are you doing? Like a bit clingy. And you don't want to come off as clingy. It's just because you haven't had your needs met. So and often in a relationship, you might have a split definition with a single definition, and the single definition needs their solo time. So they're going off while the split definition is following them, going, come back. What are you doing? So it's about communication and knowing what your partner's like, or your family, and what you're like, what you need and what they need, so that everyone's quite happy. So in my household, there's 4 of us. I've got myself and my 3 kids. We're single definitions. We can do our own thing and be lost in that thing. My husband is a split definition, and he's the one that always says, let's go out as a family. Let's come and, come together. And when we drag ourselves out, we never have a good time, and he's feeling he's doing the right thing, but it's a hard one to navigate. So I say to him, go and ride your bike with your friend. And when you've done that, we've all done our solo thing, then we can come together. Because it's all about filling your cup first, knowing what you need. Then you can come in and be a better partner or mother or father for people in your life. There is also triple split. Triple split is more like a single definition, where they like their own time, but they also need a lot of variety. They need a lot of different auras in their life. So again, that can come off looking to someone in society like, oh my God, you never sit still. You're here, there, everywhere. For work, to sit in an office all day for a triple split might be torture. To be stuck on a desert island with one person might be absolute agony. They just want variety. So knowing this about yourself, take yourself to places like a cafe where there's many different auras, where there's noise and excitement. For your work, can you travel? Can you be at this place on the road one day and then home office another? Do things where you can get that variety in environment and can meet different people. Just know that that's not everyone, that's unique to you. You know how some people really love variety? Other people don't. Other people really like the same thing every day. And that's just what's correct for them. There's no one thing. And that's the interesting thing about human design. You can really see, oh, that's what I'm like. I think I have a triple split out of the root center. Oh, so you're just looking at maybe dates that are activated. You'll see if you're triple split when you look at your chart properties box where it says type generator or type manifestor. Then it will say definition, and it will say single, split, triple split, quadruple split even. But yeah, the first thing you'll notice about the charts though is the shapes. You'll go, holy, there's a lot of shapes going on, and some are colored and some are white. Where they're white is where we're here to learn. And human design believes where it's white, It's where there could be a lot of conditioning from others, because we've come into the world so open, ready to learn. Maybe we've felt we've got a, deficiency there. So, okay, how do we do this center? And we're feeling in, but this is maybe where a lot of our work comes in. So have a look at where you're white. Do you have a white head? Do you have a white root? Because the head and the root are pressure centers. And being open, you could have a pressure to always think and always know the answer. And if I don't know the answer, I'm going to look stupid. So I'm just going to say what I think all the time. An open root is like the home of adrenaline and drive and ambition. So if you're open there, it's this pressure to get things done. I just want to get things done, get moving. That feeling of the wheels are turning, but I don't know where I'm going, that's an open root. So if you've got open root and open head, it's this tendency to feel like a kite in the wind, off. You need tethering, you need grounding. It's just good to know about yourself. It's good to see in your partner or in your child, what are they like? Do they have a defined root, a colored in root? Because a defined root really is so chilled out and really works well under pressure. They, in fact, need enough pressure to build before they get moving. So again, if I've got an open root and I just want to get things done, that isn't necessarily correct. That's my open root talking. Whereas I've got a partner, my husband, who's got a defined root. He is so laid back. It can be a cause of friction because I want to get things done and he's not moving. But if I see that and go, you know what, that's my open root talking, getting me feeling pressured. Is it a real pressure? It's not. I'm learning to be more chilled and say, I'm going to slow down, root center. That's not urgent right now. And learn to be more like the defined root. Now, there's no good or bad in what centers you have defined or not. We've all got those centers anyway. It's just interesting to see what's white is where we can trip up. Some other interesting white centers or open centers, if you've got a white open heart center, it's also called the ego center. So the ego lives in the heart, and the ego is not bad in human design. An open heart person doesn't feel worthy. They've come into this world to learn about their worth. They're not going to be that person that just knows their worth straight off the bat. So they might be the sort of person that really undercuts their rates. They don't feel good enough. They might be a people pleaser because they don't know their worth. So it's once you start to see it and start to notice it, you can say, oh, that's just my open heart talking. That's my not self, is what it's called in human design. That's not me. That's conditioning. I know I'm worthy. It's my belief about it, because everyone really is worthy. It's and Jin will tell you, as belief systems go, it's about challenging what doesn't suit you anymore and changing that, and knowing when your open heart is talking. And it's not a bad thing, but it's where you're here to learn and to really feel into your value, and maybe get a mentor or do some courses, something to change that belief system about it. But it's an interesting ride when you start to go down the rabbit hole of human design and start to just see how people tick. And it's an interesting one. I'll just go to some of the chat questions if it's okay. I'm open white on the bottom 2 right triangles and the bottom square. Yeah, Vicky. Okay. So open spleen, open sacral, open solar plexus. So that's maybe where you're here to learn things. But really, it's not saying you have no energy. So you'd be having no sacral, but that just means you don't have consistent access to energy. So don't go burning yourself out. These are people that look around, maybe go, oh, I need to keep up with everyone. Like, I can't sit still. I've got to go. Adrenal fatigue kicks in if you don't honor the rest. Like, it's important to notice when, okay, I've had enough. I need to stop now. I need to rest. But it's funny that it's productivity wins out, doesn't it? It's like, I feel better if I'm doing. Where does that come from? As a kid, were you forced off the lounge and made to move? Was it your mum who maybe had an open root or an open heart that she felt unworthy and always in a rush? So it's just interesting to see and have that visual in front of you of, oh my God, here's where it all started. I now have the power to change it. So it's about now making decisions that are your decisions. And you're saying, they're not going to come from the white open centers, the not self, because I can recognize that now. Is there any other questions or other bits you'd like to know?
Is there a difference if the boxes are colored brown versus colored red?
No, that's just the coloring they've chosen. They'll either be a color or white. So where you're colored is where you're consistent and reliable. And that will never change. So you were born like that. So if you've got, say, a colored in throat center, you know how to talk. Maybe you've lost it. Maybe you think, oh, the words aren't right. I get all choked up. It's there. It's a remembering. Are you defined anywhere else? Are you defined in your maybe your head? So maybe your head and your ajna you're colored in. That means you've got pretty consistent and reliable ways of thinking. You've got opinions, and maybe you're here to share those opinions. Where you're open, if you've got open head, open ajna, white, you're here to be so open-minded that you're just taking it all in. So it's not to say you're dumb, and if you're colored in the head, you're better. Not at all. Many geniuses had open head, open ajna. They were just here to see and experience it all. Albert Einstein has open head, open ajna, as does Elon Musk. So it was that open-mindedness that got them thinking outside the box. Whereas people with defined head, maybe they're a bit more set in their thoughts, and it takes a bit more to change their thoughts and opinions. That's not a terrible thing. So it's about seeing those differences. And where you're defined is what you're broadcasting. So if you've got a lot of definition, like a lot of shapes defined, you might be quite intense for some people, like, because you're saying all this stuff when you walk into a room. Your aura's saying it before you've even opened your mouth. If you're the sort of person that has maybe only 2 centers defined, maybe you're more of a watcher, more quieter. That's okay. That's just how you are. The white centers you're here to learn, remember? So again, do you have your spleen defined? So if that was your authority, that's great, but maybe you've just got it defined and it's not your authority. That just means you've got a really good immune system naturally. You've got really good intuition and instinct, and you just know what to hold on to that's good, and you know to let go of bad things that don't serve you any longer. People with an open spleen or a white spleen might find they hang on to things longer than they need to, be it things that numb them, like addiction and things like that. Relationships, maybe historical relationships that are toxic, but they hang on to them for fear of, oh God, that's the only friend I've got, or I've known her for 8 years and I don't really want to have that hard chat. So it's easy just to hang on to her. A horrible job that's sucking at your soul that you hang on to because you feel, oh, I'm not worth letting go of that. I can't do any better. So cleaning out your spleen is an interesting one, whether you've got it defined or not, because we can, it's like doing a stock take. What do we need? What are we getting rid of? Because when we want new things in life, if our spleen's chock-a-block, we can't possibly get new things because we need to let go of the old stuff, declutter. It's almost like it's a storage container, like a 4x4 full of boxes, and all these people wanting new things. I want a new partner. I want new direction in life. You can't if you're holding on to all this old junk. So it's about going through those beliefs. What don't I need anymore? That job that I hate, why won't I let that go? Is it fear that I can't do better? Is it fear that I want to change, but I don't know what I want to change into? It's about asking those hard questions and getting to the bottom of it. So they're all got their tripwires and their personality. Each center has their own personality. They are different to the old 7-center chakra system in that the root center isn't so much about, I know Jin will say, the root center is usually about like security, isn't it? And immediate needs, isn't it?
Yeah, safety, security, survival, protection,
Yeah.
basic.
Yeah, so basic needs. So they've changed a little bit, and we've got 2 new ones, as I said before. So it's worth, if you go onto my body graph, you can do a rollover and see what each center is. But if chakra is a bit too woo-woo for you, or you don't like the term, just think that it's all a part of you. Like everyone's got a bit of intuition, a bit of desire and will, a bit of ambition and drive. So, because a lot of my clients are corporate and they just don't like the word, chakras or things like that. But it's you've been divided up, so you can see, I've got a strength here where I'm defined. I just don't. I need to remember that because it's been so long. And here where I'm white, that's where I think I'm here to learn, but got to watch that I'm not too just taken away by that white center, taken away by the feeling of, oh, I don't like the G center, that triangle, the diamond, it's yellow in the middle. Your G center is your identity center. And it's an interesting one because if you have it defined, it means you know your identity and you know your direction in life. And it's about love. And it's funny that a lot of people say, but I might have that defined, but I don't know who I am. What am I doing? I don't know. It's like I said, it's remembering, but you do know, even if it's, I know I don't want that horrible toxic job, or I don't need this partnership anymore. So it's about trusting that you've got that ability to be guided. But if you're an open G, that means you're here to try new things. You're the sort of person that's like a chameleon. You change with your environment and with your different set of friends. I don't know if you think back to school, did you ever have a friend or notice people that did this? They were different with every group. That's just them. They're adapting. They've got that ability to do that. I've got a G center that's defined, meaning if I talk to you guys, this is how I speak. If I speak to in front of a judge, this is how I speak. If I speak to kindergartners, this is how I speak. I'm just always consistent. I'm always the same. Whereas I know my daughter has her G center white and open. She's so adaptable. She's very polite and posh when she needs to be. She can talk really nicely to kindergartners. She could be a great actress. Like, it's just that ability to morph. What becomes an issue is if she starts to believe that she needs to be like me and be consistent. That's not her this life. If I think, oh God, I wish I had that ability to change, that's not me this life. And if I try, I can't do that anyway. So it's about honesty. It's about being so truthful. People ask about, so how can I decondition? It's really about, the fastest way I can think of is to not lie. And you might say, oh, I don't lie. I'm an honest person, Carla. Are you? When your friend says, can you help me move this weekend? Do you really answer honestly? Or do you say, yep, because in your head you're thinking, I'm obliged. She helped me do this and that. Are you really doing it like truthfully because you want to? It's little things like that. Are you in a partnership where you can truthfully express yourself with your partner? Sometimes even remaining silent can be a lie because we're not speaking up. So when we start to decondition and be truthful, that's when a lot of the old conditioning falls away and we come back into ourselves. But it's not an easy thing to do, to be 100% truthful. It's going to maybe ruffle feathers. Maybe some relationships will fall away. Maybe it will mean that you change radically. Your life can change. It's all up to you though, isn't it? It's all a choice. But having your human design read, you can have your chart read and go, that's fantastic. Thank you. This is permission for me to be me. Finally, I've been trying to, put my round self in a square hole for so long. And I know all that about me. Thank you. And it stops there. And that's fine. But you can take it further and really radically change your life and be one, like, with integrity. And I know people talk about integrity all the time, but if you think about, say, the integrity of a building, if a thing is wrong with the integrity of a building, it's going to collapse. And that's the same with us. If we've been lying to ourselves, if we've been putting on a show or a pretense of, oh, this is, I'm trying to fit in to society, but not really what I'm about, you're not your true self. You're not in integrity. You've probably split and feel lost or feel like something's not right. The fastest way back is the truth. As they say, the truth sets you free. But it's a hard thing to start to do. But having this chart in front of you, you can then start to just contemplate it. What am I here to learn? Oh, my white solar plexus. I'm here to feel. Why is it so hard for me to feel? Oh, you can start thinking about your childhood. What happened? What have I started suppressing? Why do I not want to share my truth on how I feel? Do I not like confrontation? So it really, HD starts the ball rolling. And there's a massive community online, Instagram, where you can learn more about it in like bite-sized chunks. Because as you've seen today, have I even come up for air? It's so deep and layered. And this is just the basics. So it goes a lot further. So you're saying we stay white, but be aware not to make decisions from those spaces. Yeah, you're making decisions from your authority. So from your body best barometer. And your chart will say authority emotional, which is solar plexus, or authority sacral. So that's that gut feel. Or did you say the other? Did anyone have splenic as authority? No. So it's the two. So if you've got sacral as your authority, you're here to respond to life. So you're not initiating stuff. You're here to check yourself. A generator and mangen are the easiest ones. You're here this life to learn about you, to master you, to see what lights you up. We've just been so distracted. Oh, that sounds so selfish, just to know myself, but it's got this ripple effect, because when you know yourself and know I'm in integrity and I'm living in alignment, it ripples. Then you're a better parent, then you're a better partner, then you're better at work, and you affect all those people, as opposed to living the way you used to live, which is just sort of going along. When you start to feel, oh, I don't feel quite right, where can I look? I'm going to do a masterclass with Anna Wintour. She's a lady that knows what she's doing. That lady's robotic, and maybe her chart is very driven, and she can go 10-hour days of just go. Maybe you're not designed like that. Maybe it's about seeing how you're designed and looking at your strengths and working with your strengths, knowing where your little tweaks are, where you could learn, but perhaps it could be a tripwire for you, and just being aware of, this is me, this is how I operate.
There's a question from Megan. What does the fraction 6-2 mean?
Okay, so this also, so when you say to people, oh, I'm a generator or I'm a manifesting generator, it's like saying I'm a Virgo. So it's quite broad. The 6-2 gets into your profile, and it gets sort of zeroes in on what kind of manifesting generator you are, or generator. And it comes from, like I said, it's a large component of this is the I Ching. The I Ching describes this little hexagram, and it's like a trigram downstairs and a trigram upstairs. It's like a little house. And if you've got, so at each level, so you're a 6-2, you've got a 6 and a 2, meaning if you're upstairs, you learn best from other people and the world. And if you're downstairs, which you are with level 2, you're more introspective and you learn to look within. So you're a nice even split. Most of them are evenly split up and downstairs. A 6th line is called the role model, and they're here with great perspective. If you're a role model, you're on the roof. You've got this vantage point, this perspective to see how the world is. You're here to really guide others and show them through what you've done with your life. A 6th line makes mistakes in life. They're here to make mistakes, to learn. So another conditioning we could have with being a 6th line is looking at your life, like before you were 30, like it was a car crash. So many mistakes, so many careers, so many just bad decisions, but it was all learning. And it's what gets you to being that role model, where people come and ask you, oh, how you did that. It's not just, you know, cloud talk. You've actually lived that. So a 6th line by nature, and possibly from a young age, has always had authority put on their shoulders. Just trust. People want to put them in a power. So whether it's I'm the captain of my netball team, or I was the counselor at my school where I was, you know, the head person there, they've just got this role model from a young age. People are going to look to them. And then the 2, that's the 2nd line, that's called the hermit. And the hermit needs alone time. So if you've got a 2 in your profile, you need that home space where you're on your own. A 2nd line hermit, you possibly come into your genius when you're alone. So it's funny, if you're always going to live in the 6th line and be sort of out there and with people, you're never going to have that hermit time. So you need that balance to honor that in your life. But a 2nd line is a natural. They're so good at things, and they know when it's time to leave. They'll get called out for their genius, for their brilliance. A lot of 5-1s you were saying as well in the profile. I'm a 5-1. I think Jen is as well.
I think so.
So the 5th line is upstairs. The 5th line is the general. They get called in to save the day. They just have to remember, yes, I'm a fixer. Yes, I'm a leader. I just can't fix and help everyone. And they first must recognize they've got to lead themselves. And it's hard for a 5th line because they're here for throat chakra, the 5th one, where you've got to empower yourself first, lay that boundary and have the guts to do that. And in doing that, you will empower other people. A 5th line gets projected upon easily because they're so big-hearted and generous and kind. Other people can project stuff onto them. And it's easy to go along with that as a 5th line because you just want to fix things. You just want things to flow and people to like you. So it could look like your mum saying, I want you to be an accountant. So you kind of go along with it, but it's not you. Or your boss saying, I want you to stay back after work today, even though that's not in your job description. I can't stay back today. Sometimes it's easier to go along, but recognizing that you're a leader, you're here to lead, but you've got to lead yourself first. So speaking up to the boss, no, I can't do that today. Sorry. Mom, sorry, I know you'd love me to be an accountant, but I want to be an interior designer or whatever it is. And having the guts to do that, that's what the 5th line's here for. And when you speak up, you're then empowering your boss and your mother to go, you know what, I project a lot on them. I'm going to stop doing that. So it's not an easy life, a 5th line. They're actually in the house inside with the lights turned off, if there's a visual for this. So a lot of assumptions are made about a 5th line, where people might say to you, you know what, I thought you were a bit of a bitch when I first met you, but you're actually lovely. I didn't know what to make of you, but you're really generous and kind. That's a 5th line. A lot of big presences are 5th lines. I think Lady Gaga is, Madonna is. Assumptions made, but it's like you don't really know them well until you get to know them, if you know what I mean, 5th line. And then the 1st line is downstairs, underground. That's when you're inward. It's called the investigator. So you like knowledge and wisdom and learning, whatever your learning thing is. It's this insecurity you have until you have the answer. So you might want to get your house painted. You're going to research the crap out of it. You're going to find the best painter, their rates, how they prep it, everything. You're going to want to know everything. A 1st line investigator might also hate surprises. They just want to know stuff. Tell me everything. Don't take me out on my birthday and surprise me. I hate that. So it's about knowing I might not have all the answers, but I'm going to just research it and know it until I do. And that's when I get my security and my confidence in the 1st line. Yeah. Is there anyone else with a profile? Because there's 6 profile lines.
Yeah, you guys go for it and unmute yourself if you've got a question, get a little bit more information.
Can I ask a question? Sorry, it's Simona. I've lost my camera.
Hi, Simona.
Hello, you've done my reading too. I'm a 5-2, but what does it mean when there's like I've done my whole family just to try and understand the bits and pieces, but what does it mean when the number's low first? So like I'm a 5-2, but like I've got one daughter that's like a 1-3, my husband's like a 2-4. What does it mean when the number's low first?
The first number is how you are, that's your strongest.
First number is your strongest. Okay.
Yeah. So if you were, did you say you're a 5-2?
I'm a 5-2.
So and the language, the fifth line is called the heretic, and the second line is the hermit. So it's like you get the projection, you need to stand up and speak, and you get the second line to love your hermit time and when you're on your own. And then when you were saying your kids and partner are a 1-3, well, that's all downstairs. So a 1-3 is really introspective, and they're here really to learn through learning about themselves. So they're an investigator first. So they want that knowledge, that security of knowing, of researching and having the answers. And the third line is called the martyr. It's again another great name, but the martyr is really like the adventurer. They're here to make mistakes, like the role model. Trial and error. Oh, that didn't work. I'm going to try again. They're a really fun, adventurous person, a third line. That they're like a wavy line. They're not direct. They kind of bump into things. And it's that feeling of, oh, I didn't really have an idea of where I was going. And then I went to the shops and met this person. And then that led to me moving to Mexico. And now I'm in this career. That's a third line. They just make interesting things happen. Very playful. But if you said to a 1-3, go and just start your business. You know, that cool business idea you've got, you might not know how it's going to look, but just get started. That might freak them out because they're going to want to know all the answers and how it's going to look as that first line. But that third line is going to want to play and try it. So it's that sort of conflict they've got. But this life, they're here to make mistakes, and mistakes are the learning. So no mistake is a mistake, especially for kids. You know, they can get caught up in, oh, that I don't want to look stupid. It's not. It's all, I say to my kids, mistakes are proof that you're trying. So just keep going, keep trying, I would say, to the 1-3. But they're popular, 1-3s. There's a lot of 1-3s. So we've done the first line, the second, so that's the investigator, first line. The second line was the hermit. The third line is the martyr, the adventurer. The fourth line, we've got Jacob is a 2-4. So the hermit's the second line for you, Jacob. And the fourth line is called the opportunist. It just means you're an influencer. You're a networker. You're going to know a lot of people. And it's funny, as a second line, you're going to say, leave me alone. But as a fourth line, you're going to need people. But people will come and find you as a fourth line because you just know so much stuff. You're very influential. So you'll know a lot of people, but you'll intimately know only a few, have only a few close friends. But 2-4s are popular as well. Naturals and love people. It's just that balance of that alone time of rest as well. And the fourth line that, you know, wants to be social. A fourth line can dip into exhaustion. So it's about knowing, okay, I've got to stop and just be, you know, me time. And over's going, bye. Thank you. Thanks for your time, guys. It's a lot to take in. You might need to watch this back or just do a little bit of roaming around on Instagram, just finding out more about your type even, because you'll find you've got a lot of similarities just with other people that are the same type as you. You might work or function or just think about things similarly.
Megan is asking if you can be close to another one because she's a 6-2, but she really relates to a 1.
So you can still have a lot of first lines in your chart, but it's funny that your profile is just kind of the costume you've put on for this life. So if you're a 6-2, did you say? 6-2, yeah. So you're here to be that role model. Whether you like that or not, people are going to say you've got leadership skills and, you know, authority and that hermit. But yeah, the 1, you're going to possibly have a lot of it in your gates, in your chart. So that still resonates as being that investigator. But yeah, and this is like the basics.
Yeah, it takes me a while to get my head around. I just listen to my chart every now and then. Vicky's asking, if we do a deeper reading, do you go through it or just send an email like the short version? It's certainly got clearer hearing it.
When I do a reading, I'm quite a visual learner and auditory. So I present it as a Zoom recording where I've got your chart up. I'm just a little square, my head, explaining it all as I roll my mouse over. So it's very visual. It goes for about 45 minutes to an hour. I email it to you. You can watch it as many times as you like. I also send you the audio. Gin's recommended you can get a transcript done as well, which if you're more into reading and looking back. And I just find even my chart I got done 2 years ago, I still listen to it and think, wow, I've just got something new again that maybe I wasn't ready for 2 years ago, but last week I was, like the penny dropped. So you can go back over and over it. So yeah, an in-depth reading, you'll be really clear on who you are.
And it is something that just sticks with you. It's like, yeah, you can just get the one HD reading, one Vedic astrology reading, and then go from there.
So yeah, the difference, I guess, the Vedic astrology is very much more time and like, how do I describe this? You could say, when's the best time for me to launch my business? And your astrologer there could look at it and say, you know what, June next year, because the planets are in alignment then for you. HD is not like that with time-wise, time frames. It's more, who am I? I've forgotten who I am. Or I can feel I'm changing. Like I'm now in my 40s and I'm pivoting to something new. And I don't really know who I am. So HD will get you back to you, whereas Vedic astrology, it still describes you and they kind of overlap, but it's more time frames, is more astrology wise.
Yeah, so I've got my full reading with the Vedic astrologer, and then whenever big decisions come up, I'm like, oh, is this a good time to do this? Then I consult with him and I just ask him the one question. And I've used it for like potential partnerships with business and that kind of thing. Jacob's just asked, can you touch a little bit on the astrology and HD overlap?
Okay, so here's a visual for you. Sorry, so you'll see black squares. This is Western astrology and astrology here. So this is black conscious astrology. This is red unconscious. So you don't know you've got the red here. And you've got Earth and Sun there. You've got the nodes and you've got Mercury, like a few of the planets. So it's interesting that it's a component where the planets are affected in your chart. And your chart planets, without me doing a whole reading, it's a bit hard to explain, but it all overlaps within the gates. So within your centers, you'll see little numbers. They're all gates of the I Ching. And those gates fall into a planet. So I might have, say, gate 5. Gate 5 is in the sacral, and gate 5 is the gate of fixed patterns. And that might present to me, like for me, it's in my Neptune. And Neptune is about what I'm here to surrender to spiritually. So I'm here to not be so rigid and just trust the flow and rhythm of life in my spirituality and not be so hard on myself. Whereas I could be living like a real Virgo and really anal about, patterns and things, whereas I'm supposed to surrender to it. So it does get really more detailed, the astrology component of it. And people will come into HD from different angles. Some people love the astrology part of it, and some people go, oh, that's not for me, or I'm more into the centers and just working the centers and deconditioning them. It's just this fascinating rabbit hole, and you can go any way with it. So I hope that's answered that. I don't do Vedic astrology. I don't know much. I know a little bit of astrology, but not much. To be really good, I'd say Ashish is amazing. I've had a reading. He's quite accurate with my stuff. But yeah.
What other questions related to your own charts do you guys have? You can jump on and ask a question if you want. Unmute.
Simona again, sorry. How do you use yours to like yours and others to try and work them better together, sort of thing?
Okay. So, and again with the visual, this is my solar plexus. This is I'm emotional. My solar plexus has a channel. See how it's a whole line. It might be a bit red and then black to my throat. So I speak what I feel. I naturally do it. My husband has his ajna, his opinions defined. And he has a channel from his ajna to his throat. He speaks his opinions. His solar plexus is white. So when he speaks, he's speaking his opinions. When I speak how I feel. So it can be a cause of friction sometimes, because he's just like, you keep saying you feel this, but that's not logical. He's all logic and I'm more feel. Our daughter is like me. She speaks how she feels. She's got that channel there. That's her strength. What's correct for her is to feel and then speak. If she's feeling anger, speak it out, get it out, yell. Whereas that wouldn't work for my husband. He, being white in the solar plexus, with his emotions, he's here to learn about them. So he's not going to speak out of anger or out of frustration as easy as I would. He speaks his opinion, and his opinion is very logical. And we might say, oh, that's like more male and female. But when you look at charts, it's like, it's in the chart. Like, this is how you're wired. This is how I am. So his life, he's here to learn about expressing his emotions, possibly by watching his daughter and me be that way naturally. It might really trigger him, because he just wants, if my daughter's crying, he just thinks, oh my God, what's wrong with her? Can she stop crying? Like, he's very logical. Not to say he's cold and not emotional. He just doesn't relate to it. Whereas that's how we are. And it's not saying that Sienna and I are illogical. It's just not how we are wired. We're feelers. And a lot of people that have solar plexus or that emotional authority have shut down their feelings their whole life, because they've been told, you cry too much, stop being a drama queen. That's just how you're built. And if you shut that down, it might take you some time to work through that and embrace that, and that's your superpower. My brother is a musician and he's an emotional authority. And he said, you know what, my whole life, I've pushed emotions away. I've tried to be tough, thinking that's what, how a male's supposed to be. He goes, but my superpower, I've just realized at age 38, is my emotions. When I write songs about how I feel, it's what relates to people more. People feel that. And feeling is amazing. It's just a lot of people are scared of feeling, or they've been told they're emotional, but it's an amazing superpower. And when you embrace it, your life can change, because it's naturally you and you're not suppressing it anymore. Can you touch on signature satisfaction? Okay.
I think Megan had a question, and then Vicky.
Okay. So your signature and your not self theme go together. The signature of satisfaction is what we're aiming for as generators or manifesting generators. The signature of satisfaction is how we know we're on track. We've got a satisfying, ease-filled life. What we can feel, though, is frustration, and that's our not self theme. And that's when they go together. That's when we know we're off track. So if you're feeling frustrated, check back. What have I done? Have I bypassed my sacral? Did I make a decision out of my brain again? Or did I answer out of obligation and not even factor in my solar plexus or my sacral? Because that's going to lead to frustration. Your incarnation cross, everyone's got a different one. There's about 200 of them. That's to do with your role to play in life. That's your life purpose. So you can actually look that up on Google, the incarnation cross. It's a right angle cross of service. It's to do with, I don't know it off the top of my head, but I would say you're here to be of service in some sort of capacity. It might be specific if you read that. And then there was another one. That's okay. Another one.
Megan.
Yeah, I'm looking at I lost it. So many tabs. The not self questions. And one of mine says, am I trying to answer everybody's question? I'm literally a reference librarian, and that is what I do.
Yeah. Okay. So are you talking about when you scroll over? So when you get your chart up and you do the rollover, anywhere that's white will have these not self questions. So if you've got open head, it will say something like, are you trying to answer everyone else's questions? Or open ajna, are you trying to be certain with what you're doing? Because that's what can present as the not self. This feeling of, I'm trying to do my work, but these questions keep coming up from people. Remember, being white, you're open. So you're taking in everyone's information. You're almost a great mind reader with open head, open ajna. You can read people's minds. So you've got to ascertain, is this my stuff I'm thinking about, or am I thinking about their stuff? People might come to you with questions where you might know the answer and can answer for them. But often what trips up open head, open ajna is, say a friend says, oh, I want to move to Mexico and work. Do you know about, work visas in Mexico? And in your head, you might be, no, I have no idea, but I want to be helpful. Yeah, I'll look that up for you. Yeah. And you're all of a sudden, the next 45 minutes of your morning is taken up answering someone else's questions where it's like, that's not even my stuff. I don't care about it, but I've tried to be helpful or people please. So it's about checking in with yourself. Open head, open ajna. The motto is, I don't know, don't care, really. But we don't want to sound rude. So we just say, be honest. Back to that telling no lies. I don't know about Mexico, sorry. But we're trying to, like deep down, not appear stupid, or we want to be helpful. So that's the question to ask is, am I trying to answer everyone else's questions? Whereas I'm supposed to be focusing on my own stuff. That's not lighting me up. I'm not responding to that. It's not, my thing. So I'm wasting time. Yeah. It can be exhausting at work, I bet. Yeah.
My question was really on the same thing, because I noticed there's only not self themes and not self questions on the white spaces. And so I was coming back to, if we're trying to make a decision, do we ask the not self questions, or do we rely on the colored parts that are more, just go with your gut from where you are sure?
Yeah, you go with your colored center where you're sure. Your authority, sorry?
Mm-hmm. Oh, so then when do we ask our not self questions? When we're just feeling in conflict, is it? Or
so you might have, say, your sacral as your authority. That's your strength. You're here to use that as your body's compass. You know that. Yeah, I know which way I'm going to go. You might have a wide open heart though, and when you answer have a decision to make, you might start to say, that feeling of frustration we get as generators or men-gens, you might be tempted to go, you might feel not so frustrated if you just prove yourself and prove it. That's your not self-talking. That's your open heart talking, saying, that course that you want to do, you'd really improve yourself and prove to people how smart you are. That's coming from your open heart. And it's beginning to know the difference of, what, that wouldn't be good for me, because I can see I'm just trying to prove myself. So the questions with the white centers, the not self themes and questions, they're good just to contemplate. Where am I letting that seep into my life? Where am I overly proving with the open heart as an instance?
It's a very good example for me.
Oh, is it? Yeah. Because open-hearted people, open heart, sacral defined, they've got the capacity to do, but they've wrapped up doing with worthiness. So it's like, I've got to do stuff to feel worthy or to prove my value in life. And it's not the case at all. You don't. You're going to burn out eventually, or be so frustrated with yourself that you've done it again. So it's all about awareness is everything, noticing, just like, holy hell, I keep saying yes to people. Why? There's a gate 29 in the sacral. If you've got that defined, that just says yes to everything. So you might be one of these people that just wants to help and say yes. So it's about checking, because if you're like that by nature, I'm just a nice person. But who looks out for you? Know what I mean? It's about getting back to ourselves. It's not selfish. It's being a great role model for your children, your people you live with, your work colleagues, and it does ripple if you are living in alignment. So not only will your life flow better, you'll have more that signature of satisfaction. It is this amazing ripple effect where you're just at the right place at the right time. Things just flow to you rather than this hustle mentality that we've all had and that feels icky. It just comes down to what feels good for you and what doesn't feel good. It's as simple as that.
Thank you.
That's okay.
Thanks, Carla. So if anyone does want to take it further and get a reading, I'll pop it in the Facebook group at metaphysicalcompass@gmail.com, and Carla will get back to you pretty quickly. And then I do recommend, if you've got Instagram, that you follow her on Instagram, because she's constantly putting up great content and sharing other people's content about the different types, because sometimes it just won't make sense to you one way someone's explained it, but the way someone else explains it is quite amusing. And you post a lot of interesting introvert type stuff as well. So for those of you who are a little bit more introverted as well, it's quite funny. I always go to her account and look at her stories.
Oh, thank you. If you're an empath or like a sensitive person, having your HD chart read might answer a lot. Because it's actually, you could be a fly on the wall when you've had your chart read to how you were when you were a child. If you were this manifester or MG, you were like that go-getter. Were you throat defined and just too big for people? So people told you to be quiet and now you can't speak. You can sort of be that fly on the wall and go, right, that's why I shut myself down. And it's, yeah, this remembering, and you've got this treasure map now to follow of what's really you. So it's a good one.
Amazing. Thanks so much, Carla, for your time. It is very complex. Like, it's still confusing for me, guys, as well. It's definitely one of the ones where I'm like, I'll hand it over to you, Carla.
Thank you, guys. I liked seeing all your faces. You guys were all top-notch attention students. So thank you for giving me your attention. It's a lot to go through. If you've got a headache, I apologize.
Awesome. All right. Well, I'll post your details in the group, and yeah, just reach out to Carla. I have put the email in the chat if you want to grab it. And thanks again. I will touch base with you soon, Carla.
Cool. Thank you so much, guys. Have a good day.
Have a great day, guys.
Thank you.
Bye.
Bye.